The Cerrado biome, the Brazilian Savannah, covers over 2 million square kilometers, spanning across 8 states of Brazil. With all of its greatness, it harbors a third, or 33%, of all Brazilian biodiversity. One of the most important biomes in the world, but nonetheless, it is considered also to be under a greater threat than the Amazon, disappearing at a faster rate. The Cerrado is such a hotspot for biodiversity that it corresponds to 5% of all the biodiversity on planet Earth. It is the home to 250 species of mammals, 900 species of birds, 300 species of reptiles, 200 species of amphibians, and 1,200 species of fish. Now, if we talk about invertebrates like insects and spiders and etc., we are talking about more than 100,000 species, and many of them still unknown by science. Talking about plants, the plant kingdom in the Cerrado comprises 12,000 species of plants. Within those, 1,000 of these species are tree species. And between the 12,000, 4,000 are considered endemic. It is particularly considered special and important because it is the cradle of waters. Many watersheds in Brazil depend on the high altitude water springs. The Cerrado is topographically located on average 1,500 meters over the sea level, and that's why the tributary rivers from the Brazilian Savannah are so important. The Cerrado can be classified according to a wide sense or a stricter sense. The strictest sense only comprises the savannic formations. The wide sense comprises 14 phytophysiognomies and also encompasses the forest formations and the field formations, grassland formations. I just wanted to show you the aftermath of the forest fires in this kind of setting here, where it's very dry, very warm with the coming of the spring. It's already very harsh conditions for wildlife, but I want you to notice, because in a while the landscape is going to change a lot. I need you to be prepared to see what you're going to see, because it's not pretty. It is something that breaks my heart that there is no possible way to stop this from happening year after year. So I just want to point out this tree again, as I have many times talked about this tree, Cariocar brasiliense, the pequi tree, which is flowering right now. A tree like this, to grow up to this size that is right now, could take 50 more years. Okay, this tree could be older than 50 years, but the fire doesn't allow, the fire is too frequent. This one is very lucky because it doesn't actually have fire marks in the trunk, but all the others around, they have fire marks. So a tree to get this size, it needs 50 or more years. And if you burnt down every single last tree in here, it would take, in general, scientists have this consensus of 300 years. So to recuperate a Cerrado area in the strict sense of the word, it would take, in general, approximately 300 years. So can you see now already there is a stark difference in the environment? And these trees that were already preparing for the coming of the rain, usually they flower and they produce fruits to reproduce, and some of them were already had already finished that cycle. The deciduous ones were already preparing for the coming of the rain, because the trees, they have these mechanisms to
to know that it's approaching because of the changes in the climate, in the microclimate, right? So they were already putting out some shoots, some new shoots, and the new shoots are completely burned now. Some trees are partially burned, some others completely burned, and I can see a lot of new shoots like these from the Dalbergia miscolobium tree. You see, those are dry now and useless for the tree. A very young individual of Carioca brasiliensis. The new shoots are burnt too, the flowers were burnt. So this all creates an even harsher condition for the fauna, right? Because the fauna, it's even funny to have to say this, but the fauna depends on the flora to survive, right? The fauna depends on the trees producing their fruits according to the normal schedule or schedule. I think it's schedule, but anyway, according to their normals, the standard schedule. Otherwise, they will starve. The animals will starve. I mean, do you think any kind of animal would survive in a barren reality like this? I mean, just think of how many reptiles died in here, how many bird nests were completely pulverized with or without eggs or nestlings. Look. So insects all gone. All gone. This is a massive kind of disturbance to the environment. I have thought about solutions for this, at least locally, because I have no condition to act nationally if I can't even do anything for this very small park. You know, I denounced to the police already. I did everything I could, and I thought about solutions to give all this information that I've been gathering for years about the people that do this, that set this on fire, and it's always the same people. But they don't seem to act on it. What can I do? A normal mortal person, what can a mortal do to compete against this? There's no way. I thought about creating a private security company, but it would depend on the people that live around here to pay up for it, you know, for surveillance, like patrolling, real patrolling, private security company focused in the well-being of this park. But then I would need clearance and license from the federal police themselves, and I would need an establishment to train security, even if I have only 1 or 2 employees, security guards in this case, to patrol with me. I would need a facility to do that with all the standard procedures and all. I would need guns and licenses for guns for each one. It would be effective. I reckon it would be effective, but anyway, it involves a lot of money that I don't have in my pocket right now to start a company. So it would depend on the conscience of the people that live around. You see, a tree like this could be 50 to 60 years, even more. And now it's dead. You see the new shoots? Dead. Fried. Okay? Baked. So this is the barren reality that this whole region, as you saw in the pictures, it's an enormous extension, and through all of that extension there were severe fires just these days raging through. And it doesn't matter which direction you go in here, at least the core of the park didn't burn this time, but last year it was the core instead of the sides of it, you know. Now I'm going directly to I'm going in the direction of one of its edges, you know. And you see there's a lot of birds here, reptiles and small mammals, and they just lost their home. And I know nobody gives a shit, you know. I do. And depending on the conscience of the people that live here, there wouldn't be enough adhesion to the proposal. And I don't know if everyone would contribute, because if everyone that lives around here would contribute, I would have an army, man. I would have an army to patrol this and ensure, and also give the example to other places where this is a common kind of practice, for people to also pay for the same kind of service, you know, to patrol their local areas. You know, hire people from among themselves, from among the community itself, live close by. There would be ready to intervene any time of the day, like I am able to in here. But it would involve so much bureaucracy, not only money, you know, a lot of bureaucracy as well. And yeah, it's cheaper to destroy everything. All you need in here is just a candle, a match, or cigarette butts don't light fires like these, man. It's a myth, you know. It's not an excuse to throw cigarette butts into nature, but it doesn't work like that, okay? For a fire like this to happen, you need something flammable, really flammable, to start a fire, okay? If you throw a cigarette butt into gasoline, it's not gonna ignite. You know, this one here is the same species. Those trees that I planted, only the Dalbergia miscolobium is the different one, okay? The ones that I showed today, okay? This one is the Cariocar brasiliense, the pequi tree, okay? Its fruits are very necessary for the fauna all around. With birds and small monkeys that I saw here before. You can see all of that in my videos. In every video I make, I try to put at least one sneak, you know, into the video, one species or one thing about one curiosity about nature that you probably didn't know, and stuff like this, you know. Nobody fucking watches it anyways. This tree could be 70 to 90 years old. I'm pretty sure. There are individuals of this species that are over 300 years, and they have very large trunks, but those are very rare nowadays, because just imagine if all of those areas are burning at the same time, there will soon not be specimens like 300 years old anymore. Soon. I don't know, man. I know Brazil is huge and all, but if you think of how huge these areas are, this is a small park, and look at the effect that the fire had here. Okay, it really looks barren and desolate, you know, dead, sterilized, and it's not pretty, man. It's not pretty. Check this tree out. Probably a Qualia parviflora. Oh no, it's an Enterolobium contorticilicum. It's a ear monkey tree. It's the ear monkey tree. The fauna also depends a lot on its fruit, but I bet this one won't bear any fruit this year because it's toast. All of the leaves are dead. And this is not a deciduous tree. You see, it wasn't supposed to drop all the leaves like this. having them all dead. And sure, many of them will sprout back to life when the rain season really starts, which will be probably by the end of October, by the end of this month. But anyway, guys, I just wanted you to see what the aftermath looks like, and tell me what you think about this idea for a private security company. But if you think it's a good idea, and how do you think I could convince people and to speak with all of them? Because some places in here are condominiums, and they have like a president, like for the administration of it, you know. But you see, this is a very, very old Dalbergia miscolobium. I also mentioned before in the same video. Burned to the core. You see, it might even come back, but check the damage. It went right to the core of the tree. So this specimen, I don't even want to risk saying it's less than 100 years old, because it surely is not. Okay, this is an individual that is probably over 100 years old, and it will not recuperate very well. If it does, probably most of it is dead. Yeah, the firefighters came, and they fought the fire and they put it down, but the damage is so extensive. And this is just a small portion of what happened these days, you see. This is just a small portion. You put together these factors, you know, the high speed winds blowing in every direction possible, dry season, end of dry season, coming of spring, still no rain, everything is dry, the whole biomass is dry, and the warmth is ramping up, you know, the temperature is rising, and the winds and the people with no conscience setting things on fire. All of these factors together, they produce this, you know, the complete sterilization of nature. And I really cannot conceive in my head. It is really difficult for me that in 2025 people are still struggling to understand that this is not okay, this is not supposed to happen, this is not normal, this shouldn't be accepted by society the way it does. And you see, everything is just sterilized and dead. Some of them will, of course, come back, but you know, it takes years to fully recover from this kind of impact, you know. The thing is, every year it burns, so every year it will take a little bit more of individuals such as this one. This is a young Cariocar brasiliense individual. You see, oh, how do you know all these trees? Are you sure you're looking at the same tree? Yeah, I'm sure. So how do you know all these trees? How are you sure that you're looking at the same tree all those times that you told us the name of the tree or something? You see, I've studied. I've been to the woods many times. I've worked with this. No, you're talking to a professional here, okay? Incredible, man. It's just charred down. The whole tree. It's sad, you know. Another cool thing that I learned these days as I was pruning the trees in my backyard is that parrots, those little, not parrots, but parakeets, those smaller ones, they can build nests inside of these termite mounds, you know. They could also be bee mounds, but they look a little bit a little bit more different. And this is very rigid one structure, so I'm pretty sure those are termites. So these little parakeets, they sometimes the couple can dig a hole from under here, somewhere under here, and they could build a nest inside of the hollow, inside of this thing. You know, symbiotically living with the termites in there at the same time. And I discovered that in my own home. Why the parakeets made their nest in there? Well, because probably all the prior years they tried to do that in here, for example, which is very close to my house. Their nestlings, all their puppy parakeets, or whatever you call the nestlings, right? They got charred inside. So that's why probably the parakeets chose my place, my house, in my backyard to make their next nest. Because probably in there they won't get burned. They won't lose the work of a lifetime. They won't lose their time trying to reproduce and maintaining their own species alive. Which they are dwindling, by the way. All the Psittacidae birds, they are in a long extinction curve. So it's just a matter of time. But this surely accelerates it, right? Accelerates the process of extinction. Anyway, let me get out of here. There's ashes everywhere. I'll be covered in ashes just from walking around in here. Look at the size of those little beings, those little birds. They survive mostly off grass and small fruits. What can they have now to eat? You see the size of it? It's very, very small. Creatures like this, they're bound to disappear or become very, very rare, or just a memory and a picture in a book in the future.